right. Let me do slideshow, get up here. Okay. Oh, I gotta share my screen. Hold on. Let's start there. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all. Hopefully, we get more people, but we'll see. All right, so you all should be able to see. That was the back side of my family for a second. Anyways, okay. Let me keep this. Oh, I want to be able to see you guys. Okay. So let me start. I think you all know me, so I'm not even gonna, I guess, introduce myself. But anyways, if you don't, I'm Amy Bidwell. And just to kind of give you a little bit of background, I'm gonna actually just get rid of you guys here. To give you a little bit of background, I have, and please just yell out, interrupt if you have any questions or anything. Pop it in the chat as we go. Let me just start by saying that I've really kind of morphed into this new research field of behavior change, but specifically really focusing on college students and how college students can flourish and thrive. And I've done a ton of research on it. I've been getting some amazing feedback, amazing data. But what I wanted to talk to you today about was not necessarily presenting the data because it's kind of boring, but just to talk about what this kind of cool thing is that I'm doing, or at least I think it's cool, in the classroom that is really showing amazing data in terms of student success. And with that, I say it's amazing data, but I also would like to maybe take a look at their GPA and correlate that out, but that's for another day. So anyways, we're talking about fostering student resilience and essentially this PERMA theory of well-being, which is what I'm really going to take you through today. And okay. Today, we're going to describe the relationship between positive psychology and positive education, explain what this PERMA framework is and how I utilize it. I'm going to also discuss different interventions that you may want to use in the classroom. Ideally, it's really what I would love everyone to use in their classroom. And then if we have time, I will highlight some really great qualitative data that Jessica Harris helped analyze for me, or with me, for me, I should say, not with me. Okay, so let's start by looking at, and this is something I'm really trying to push towards. And in fact, I'm going on sabbatical in the fall, and the sabbatical will be to write a textbook and create kind of this whole program that focuses on how do we get students to actually flourish. And so I think the college and institution does a really great job at helping individuals who are suffering from some sort of mental health setback, I'll call it. So it's really a nice treatment type plan. However, if we take a step back and look at prevention instead of treatment, and that's really what our department focuses on, is the prevention side. So there's this great concept, it's a theory, a model by Corey Keyes, and basically the model states that we are languishing or flourishing, okay? And we should be flourishing. And so what we have here is we have individuals that have some sort of chronic mental health concern or disease or condition. So that's the treatment side. You obviously have to treat those individuals. That's really important. Those people have the lowest level of functioning. Their mental well-being is very low. And they're, again, suffering from some sort of mental health issue. We may also have individuals that might have high optimal well-being, but still suffering from some sort of mental health issue. And again, still focusing on that treatment side. And I think we have a fair bit of students in this category as well, where they might be doing what they think they're supposed to be doing. They're exercising, they're eating well, They may have great social connections, but yet they're still suffering from some sort of mental health issue. So again, the counselor approach, cognitive behavioral therapy is important for that side. What I want to look at is kind of this other side, which I want to call flourishing. We still have those individuals who may have low mental health illness, okay? However, their overall mental well-being is not very good. So what these individuals are, and again, we have a fair bit of individuals on campus that are in this kind of murky middle where they don't have a diagnosable condition where they should see a counselor. They may actually seek a counselor thinking that they have some sort of mental health disorder, but in reality, it's probably just, stress from exams, maybe problems with their social network, homesickness, that type of thing. So again, not a situation where they must go into, okay. I just saw that text. So those people that are in that murky middle where they're really not going to seek out help and just struggle on their own. That's really what we're trying to tackle. And so that brings us to this ideal state. So this is the individual that is flourishing. I like to call it north of neutral. Okay, so north of neutral being that they may have, if you think of a scale, -10 to 0 and then 0 to +10, these are our positive side. Okay, so they're having ideal mental wellness. They're also not suffering from any mental health diseases. So this is really where we want to get our individuals, our students. Okay, so the importance of that is if you have these people that are north of neutral or flourishing, when they do have a setback, so let's say we have students that are flourishing, but then they receive a bad grade or something happens at home or they lose a job, whatever it is, they have the skills and the tools to still stay north of neutral, okay? So they may drop back a bit, but they have those skills where they're not going below that flourishing phase. So with that said, I'm going to take you through a couple different theories that have been developed that really encompass what helps people flourish and thrive in life. And one of them, and I'm sure many of you have seen this theory before, by Barbara Fredrickson, which is this broaden and build theory. And what this broaden and build theory is, and this is why positive psychology and positive education is so important for college students, because and I'm experiencing this with my daughter as she's studying for Regents. If you have positive emotions, then your brain, your cognitive ability increases. So you have increased ability to retain information. You have novel thoughts. You're able to be more open-minded and have more psychological resilience. And all of that involves or results in enhanced flourishing, survival, and fulfillment. Okay? Where this is really important, which you'll see soon, is in the classroom. If we can bring individuals into the classroom, I feel like I need to see who's here just so that I feel like I'm talking to someone. I just feel like I'm talking to this blank screen and I'm like, wait. Anyways, if we can increase a student's ability to, or our students' emotions, the second they walk into the classroom, we have now broadened them or opened up their minds to increased cognition, increased resilience, increased retention, okay? Think of all those students that walk into the classroom or walk into your office and they're very negative. If we can take a minute and a half to broaden them and open up the brain to receive positive emotions, then they start to learn better. And I saw this happen last night with my daughter. We're studying for Earth Science Regents, which I feel like wasn't quite as hard when I did it. I don't know, I could be wrong. But anyways, my daughter sits down, she's miserable, she doesn't want to study, she just wants school to be over with. And so I'm trying to like help her with it, like, ask her questions, go through the book with her. And she's just getting everything wrong. And I'm like, okay, this is not good. I know she knows this. So we took a break, closed the book, left the room. She left me because I think I was half the problem, and went for a walk with my husband. They had a nice chat, like about, nothing important. And then she came back. She was giddy. She was in a good mood. We sat down. We did the exact same problems. And it was like the doors had opened. And it was really quite interesting, and it'll be interesting tonight when we review some of the stuff, how much she actually retained. But that, it really sets the stage in the classroom, in your labs, in the environment. And we'll talk more about that as we go. So what is positive education? And again, positive education is really what my research is all about right now. And there is a ton of research on positive education in K through 12, but not quite as much in higher education. And I'm working right now, I'm going through a couple certifications that focus on positive psychology, and I'm implementing it into higher ed. You also don't have a ton of research in the States. A lot of it is in Australia. A lot of it is in the UK. So it's really quite interesting. But what this positive education is really bringing together positive psychology, which I'll talk about in a moment, with best practices of teaching. So best pedagogical strategies, but also bringing that positive psychology into it. And the research has shown, and there's books written about it, there's so much research that shows that if we can have enhanced relationships, enhanced emotions, health, more engagement, accomplishments, and purpose, that we actually learn more and we flourish and thrive. And so this particular model, which is live it, learn it, embed it, is basically looking at more of a holistic approach to, say, education. My goal is for us as a campus to look at this flourishing and this positive education as a holistic approach where every single thing we do on campus, we're embedding positive education into. And by doing that, we're able to learn more, ultimately, hopefully retain more students, but we also have to live it. And that is a whole nother discussion, but the living part is getting our employees, our instructors, everybody on campus that gets a paycheck from SUNY Oswego is living this positive psychology, this human flourishing theory. Hopefully we'll get there. I just want a bunch of t-shirts that say that, but I have a new thing. I want this thing to be called like Oswego Thrive or like Lakers Thrive, something like that. Cool t-shirt. All right, so positive education, what is positive education? So positive education, again, taking the pedagogical strategies that are already been shown to be effective in the classroom, but then adding in some more activities that focus on increasing people's emotions, making people flourish. And so there's mindfulness, empathy, self-awareness, coping with emotions, good communication, good interpersonal relationships, creative thinking, critical thinking, decision-making, and problem solving. So all of these must be infused into the educational system. So the classroom. With empathy, and this is one that I have noticed more and more, especially as advisors, I find that I'm finding a pretty significant shift with my advisees now that I've taken this more positive approach with them. And what I mean by that is, a student comes into our classrooms or into our offices and they're stressed and they have all these excuses, right? And we're immediately, well, maybe not everybody, but I would sometimes just kind of have that thought, like, Oh, here we go again. I've heard this story 150 times. It's not new. I'm thinking this in my head. However, if you just make a shift, and this is appreciative advising as well, but just shift your mindset and practice empathy with them, it really broadens their emotions and you end up getting a lot more out of them. And the same thing can be said for a classroom. You know, you have students that walk into your classroom and you just have that vibe where it's like, wow, everyone's miserable. You can just tell they're burnt out. What about stopping class for a minute and empathizing with them? And again, I do this with my daughter. She was complaining about her test. And I'm like, you know what? It sucks. It sucks. Instead of making excuses for the student and saying, oh, this is college, you just have to suck it up and, you know, deal with it. Let's get back to work here. No, take 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes to be with your students, be with your advisee and say, wow, yes, this is hard. This is hard work. It sucks. There's no way around it. You have a massive final tomorrow. I can't take that away from you. Like, you have that. Let's see what we can do about it. Let's try to broaden these students so that they can understand that we as advisors, as instructors, whoever we are with them and we're not against them. We have to stop acting like, and I don't know if you guys can see my hands flying all over, but yeah, we have to be up here with them. We have to, or we can't be up above them. We need to come down to their level. And that could, some people might look at that the wrong way, that no, we are above them, but why are we above them? If we can come to their level and empathize with them, then it broadens them and they can start to open up a little bit more and appreciate the fact that we are their confidant, not their enemy, right? So I'll talk about all these different ones as we go. Another really key one that I wanted to highlight was interpersonal relationships. I'm just thinking about advising and teaching these interpersonal relationships. Again, this goes back to, it was the book club, was it last summer? I think it was like, was it called Engagement or Disengagement or something? I can't remember what it was called, but what was it called? Anyways, it was all about relationships. We need to build relationships with our students.
Relationship-rich education.
We have to have relationships with our students. And the better those relationships are, the more they're going to broaden their brains and start to actually learn and be there. Okay. Just looking at the chat here. Thank you. Relationship-rich education. Thank you, everyone. Great book. Although as I was reading it, I was like, wow, it's like he stole all my stuff out of my sabbatical proposal. But anyways. All right, so we'll keep going. Let me get this out of the way. How do I get that chat back out of there? Oops. Anyways, I'll just get rid of you guys for a sec. So positive psychology over the past 9 months, or actually, no, I take that back. I started last May. Last May, I received funding from the counseling center through their SAMHSA grant to take a 9-month course, which involved 4 hours a week. So every Tuesday and Thursday from 12 to 2. Live Zoom meetings with a cohort of 20 other people across the country, actually internationally, where we learned the scientific study of human flourishing. And it was actually pretty intense, but it was a blast. And then in April, this March, I started the second half, which is positive psychology coaching curriculum. And that's a 5-month program. And so I have lots of stuff in this office, but just more research than I know what to do with about the benefit of positive psychology. And if anybody knows me personally, they can see the shift that I have gone through over the past 18 months. Just my own teaching, my own, but not just professionally, but personally, like my relationships with people. It has done a complete 180. My students that work very closely with me, my research assistants, have infused this into their lives and have done total 180s. But it's essentially looking at what's good in our life instead of focusing on what's wrong with us, right? So if we think of a student who failed a class or failed a test, the first thing that we do is say, well, did you study enough? Or how did you study? Or something like that, right? We immediately go behind, we go backwards. Okay, well, you failed your test, maybe you shouldn't have gone out Saturday night or something like that, right? No, positive psychology is, okay, that happened. It is what it is. Let's look at what works well for you. What did you do in the past where you were successful? Tell me that. Take me through that. Visualize what that felt like to walk across the stage in high school to receive your diploma. How did you get that diploma? How can you take those skills and those strategies and use them today? Okay, so it's taking students, individuals, everyone, and focusing on what's good in your life, not what's bad. Okay, and this is why gratitude exercises, it's huge. Gratitude exercises. I had my students, my first year students, do this over winter break, Thanksgiving break. They wrote a gratitude letter to somebody in their life. They wrote it, which the research shows just by writing it will enhance emotions. But then they had to, when they went home for Thanksgiving break, actually not just deliver it to them, but stand there and read it to them. Now, not everyone was able to do that. And I don't know if I couldn't do it myself, actually. It's hard, very vulnerable. The comments that I received that the students said when they got back from break was amazing. I mean, they said some of them use the words life-changing. And that's what gratitude does, is it looks at what is good right now instead of what is bad. This happened to me. Another example is in November, a very close cousin suddenly passed away, and my mother and I had to drive down to North Carolina kind of suddenly. And there was the stress of the death, but then I had this added stress that my two sisters were leaving me to take my mom to North Carolina, which meant I had to drive the two of us down there. And if you know my mom, which you don't, to spend 12 hours in the car with her was its own kind of challenge, right? I mean, I love my mom to death, but that was my biggest concern. So, and then I was not gonna let her drive my car. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm doing this by myself with her in the car. Well, I was miserable for a day and a half. And then I'm like, I can't believe I have to do this. My sisters are bailing on me. I woke up that morning and I'm like, and I had to leave my daughter suddenly, which, whatever. I woke up that morning that we were gonna leave. And I laid in bed for about 5 minutes. I remember it like it happened yesterday. And I visualized, and I'm actually getting like emotional just thinking about it. I visualized how this day could go. How much I could appreciate the fact that I get to spend 12 hours with my mother. How appreciative I should be that I get to go see all my cousins down in North Carolina that I haven't seen, right? Well, I will tell you, and the reason I'm getting so emotional is it was absolutely horrible when we were down there because of the funeral, but I would not change that experience for anything, because I had such an amazing 24 hours in the car, so there and back, with my mother. We had more laughs. We had serious conversations. I taught her all about positive psychology. She thinks I'm nuts, but that's okay. But it was amazing. And I am convinced it only was amazing because I changed my mindset 5 minutes when I woke up that morning. And I will tell you that not only was my mindset totally different, my mother's was, because she was feeding off of me. Same thing if you walk into, and I feel like I do this now, I could be wrong, but when I walk into a meeting, especially a meeting that I might be running, a lot of times you go in, you're rushed, you're stressed, you've got 100 things on your mind, and you're radiating all that negativity to everyone else. And so now we're not broadening individuals, right? We're narrowing them. And so your personal experience of walking into a classroom, walking into an advisement meeting, walking into a meeting in general with your peers, your emotion at that moment is going to dictate the feeling around you. Right? You know, that if you are radiating negativity, everyone else is going to radiate negativity and you're not going to learn. If you're radiating negativity in the classroom, and I know I do this on occasion, you're rushing in, I'm late for everything. My mom says I'm going to be late for my own funeral. But if you walk in that classroom in that meeting and you are broadened and you are positive, you took 30 seconds before you walked in to appreciate what is good right now, then you radiate that to the individuals around you. And now they're broadened. Okay. So again, feel free to pop in if you have questions or anything. All right. So specifically positive psychology, what does it entail? It entails positive emotions. I've already talked about that. So this ability to enhance emotions that allow us to broaden and build our cognition and our relationships. The second part, which is relationships. You see this all the time on a college campus. I believe one of the main reasons that students drop out or withdraw from a college that first year is lack of connection to the campus. Okay, so this is why like GST 104 is so important, because it's helping these students, these first year students, develop relationships with people on campus so that they feel more engaged, they feel more connected to campus. A relationship rich education book, that's what it was about. Building these relationships with their peers, with their professors, will help increase their ability to flourish and thrive in life. The next one is accomplishments. This is why having an individual really focus on their strengths is so important, and not focus on what is wrong with them. Because in order for somebody to truly flourish and thrive in life, they need to have experienced some sort of success, some sort of accomplishment, right? So maybe they didn't pass the test, but they tried a different study habit, right? Think of something small when you get, well, a promotion would be something big, but something as small as my daughter, again, I'll use my daughter as an example. We started doing HelloFresh, which is like those dinners, you know, they bring you, they send you the recipes and all that and the food. Well, she did everything herself last night and she was so proud of herself, and it actually tasted really good. And it broadened her mind. It increased her positivity because she had that win. She had that accomplishment of, oh, right, I actually was able to follow this recipe, measure everything out by myself. Huge. Engagement. We should all experience engagement every day. And what this is when you are 100% in flow. Now, I always love to ask everybody, and I only can see 2 people on the screen right now, but I would love to know, and maybe you could even pop this in the chat, but I need 100% honesty. How many of you are currently multitasking? Doing something else, checking email, I know, Liz, I know you are. Everybody, right? Guilty, everybody. I mean, I can see Paul's hand on the mouse. I mean, actually I can't, I just see your hand sitting there, but we do it all the time, right? Now and then, I'm right there with you. We cannot multitask. Science, the scientific research tells us we cannot multitask, right? So what that tells me is that, and I don't want you to do this because then that just be embarrassing, but anyone that is not 100% engaged in my presentation right now shouldn't even be watching it. So don't log off though, because that just makes me look bad. But I'm just saying, if you're not 100% engaged in what you are currently doing, you shouldn't do it because that means it's not important to you. You need to be 100% engaged in what you're doing, right? You have to have that flow. And it might not be what you want to do, right? So maybe you're, I don't know, sitting down to grade papers. Okay, my least favorite thing in the world to do is to grade papers, right? But grading papers would be a lot easier for me to do if I just sat down and did them 100% instead of watching a CELT session while I was trying to grade papers. So now I'm not getting anything out of the CELT session. And God knows what I'm doing to these papers that I'm grading. Okay. Our students are sitting in class. What are they doing? They're on their computers. They're smart now. They don't use their cell phones. They just use their computers because it does the exact same thing. They're not paying attention to us. So we have to find, as educators, something that we can do in the classroom, in advisement, wherever we are, that gets them 100% engaged. Okay, and I think that one of the books we read in CELT sessions talked about this, one of the technology ones. It's not about eliminating technology. It's not saying you can't use your cell phone. Instead, we have to say, I'm going to engage you so much in this activity that you don't want to use your cell phone. That's how we should be reframing that. So if I have a student that's using their cell phone in class, it's not their fault. It's my fault. I have not engaged them enough. I have not put them in flow. So if you could pop in the chat right now, and I know not everyone, especially if you're inside the CELT room, you can't do this, but if you can put in the chat one thing that you do every day that you feel 100% engaged in. And for me, I'll just say mine right now is this. Anything in positive psychology, like gardening, yes, that's a good one. I get into that. Exercise, I'm right there with you, Lisa. I turn everything off. Like the world could explode in front of me and I wouldn't know. Gym, yes. Reading a book, yes. Oh, this book that I'm reading right now is crazy, Liz. That book is killing me. It makes me not want to sleep. Oh gosh, Cassie, you have to enjoy every second of that. Oh, I love that. Meditation, I love it. If my cat is not screaming at me, that's why I have to create a meditation room. That's what I did. I love it. I love it. We should experience this every day. Every day you need to do something, even if it's for 5 minutes, that you're 100% in flow with. For me, actually, another thing, one of my favorite things to do is on Friday or Saturday nights, we go in our basement, the 3 of us. I have a 15-year-old and my husband and the 3 dogs, and we watch a movie and we eat takeout from Copper Top, and a hazy IPA next to me, and I'm good. I'm good. That I'm 100% engaged in. That's what you want to experience every day. And then with that, putting your brain back to how it felt when you do those activities. So just now when I had that vision of our Saturday night ritual, I did have that slight increase in emotion. Okay. And then meaning. Meaning is looking at life as something greater than you. Life is not just about you. People often think of this as spiritual, and it does have a spiritual well-being aspect to it. But it really, I shouldn't say but with that, it's really just knowing that you are doing you have some sort of purpose in life, right? For me, when I do this stuff, in fact, my husband's home today and he's like, why are you doing that? Like, you don't need to do this presentation. Like, why'd you sign up for this? And I'm like, I love it. This is my engagement. This is my flow. I feel like I have a purpose in life. I feel like my purpose is to help people flourish and thrive. And so that's my meaning. That's my purpose. And I have a great activity, which I won't do, but I have a great activity that we can do with our students to help them find their meaning and purpose in life. Because when they're sitting in the classroom trying to figure out molecular biology, they're probably not thinking about their ultimate purpose. They're probably thinking, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? However, if we take 5 minutes at the start of that biology class and give them an opportunity to journal for 5 minutes about what their goal, their ultimate purpose in life is, their 10-year, 20-year plan. And I often tell students, in 10 years, I do this in advisement all the time, in 10 years, and it's Monday morning at 6 a.m. and your alarm goes off. What's the first thing that goes through your mind? Is it, oh crap, I can't believe I have to work 5 days in a row and go through this again? Or is it, bring it on, let's go, I'm ready to start. I'm going to do some good things this week, right? Or I'm going to do great things today. I'm going to help people today. That's what you want. You don't want an individual to get up and say, oh, I have to go collect my paycheck. So allowing your students an opportunity in class for 5 minutes to even journal about, tell me what your purpose is in life. And then how does that relate to you right now sitting in this class? Okay. And then there's a sixth one that was recently added to this model, which is vitality, which is all about our physical well-being. So making sure we take time to exercise or move every day, to eat healthy, to practice good hygiene and good sleep hygiene. So that was all recently added. Okay, so let's go through each one real quick. I've already talked a lot about emotion. So the positive emotion, the P part of PERMA, which is increasing individuals' emotions. Again, if you look at it from the advisement perspective, it could be, and I do this all the time, your student walks in the door and you immediately get right down to business. But what if you stopped and you said, hey, Bob, how are you today? Tell me one good thing that happened to you this week. And they say, oh, my girlfriend surprised me with a night out. I don't know. Just take 30 seconds, close your eyes, Bob, and visualize how that felt for you. How did that feel? And so I'm going to have you do this right now, everyone. Just take 30 seconds, close your eyes, and I want you to visualize something good that has happened to you in the past week. Something positive. Just visualize that. Take yourself right back into that place. So again, and I don't know if that was 30 seconds, I wasn't timing it, but taking 30 seconds with your students, your whole class of 400 people, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, shut everyone down and say, I want you to find something that has happened to you in the past 7 days that's good. Because you know those people are sitting in your office or sitting in the classroom, and the only thing they're thinking about is everything that's bad in their life at that moment. They're thinking about the tests that they have, the stress of not doing their laundry yet, or the stress of, their paycheck doesn't come for another week. Let's bring them back to what's good and embrace that and broaden them. Okay. So again, that increases our brain functioning. It increases our body's ability to retain information and create new ideas. You'll notice that if you can enhance those positive emotions in the classroom, all of a sudden, people are more active. People are participating more with the class activities. They're coming up with better ideas because it's a physiological change that happens in the brain. Neurologically, we're now firing the neurons that focus on positive emotion, which again clears the brain for increased memory, increased retention. And I will tell you, if someone's multitasking while they're trying to do this, it's not going to work. Very much not into multitasking. Engagement, again, I've talked about this. You want to find something every day that you're 100% in flow with. One thing that's really easy to do for yourself that I have done on occasion is when you're driving to work or when you're taking a walk. If you have dogs, I do this all the time. So we have 3 dogs. Take a different route. Go a different way to work. Take a different route when you're walking. In the classroom, change their location. I do this on occasion. I'll bring them outside if it's nice. I will bring them to our lab if it's nice. We'll just go for a walk in groups. Get them out of their normal space so that you can enhance that engagement. If you're in a different space, you're more engaged because you're able to take in that new environment, okay? Working with students' strengths, having them, without even having to do a strength test, have them, start your class or start your advisement session with, Bob, I want you to write down 3 things that you think you're really good at. What are those 3 things? And this happens all the time. Like we get the students that want to do physical therapy and they're transferring from bio and they come in and they're like, I want to do physical therapy. So I'm like, okay, awesome. What are your 3 strengths? Well, they'll tell me their 3 strengths. And then through conversation, we find out that one thing they're really not good at is science classes. Well, if you know anything about physical therapy, you can't do physical therapy unless you're decent at science, or at least like it. Maybe you're not great at it, but you need to at least like it. But their mom or dad or whoever told them that they can get a job as a physical therapist easily and they make good money and it's fun. You get to work with athletes. No, that's not how it works at all. At all. I did it. Been there, done that. It's not the case. So let's say, okay, well, what are you good at? Right? And again, we get this with our students. Well, they're really good at helping individuals, working with people. They're creative, right? Okay, well, health education is great because that's the strengths that you need for that, right? So giving our students an opportunity to look at their own strengths so that they can stay engaged. Relationships, we've talked about this. There's a ton of research now out about the adverse effects of the social isolation that we all experienced through COVID and how a lot of people are still experiencing that. And this is why Alzheimer's, they've done so much new research about the increased chance of developing dementia if you are if you're isolated from people. So think of individuals in nursing homes that don't have that social connection. Their cognitive ability significantly decreases. This is really important with our students. And I know I get like this too, is like, you're in a rut, you really don't feel like socializing, but then as soon as you do it, you come home and you're like, oh, that was a lot of fun, right? Same thing with our students. We have to get them engaged and build strong relationships because it increases their cognitive ability, okay? Plus it helps them feel loved and supported. So I forgot I put this in here. This was, I didn't even know it's my, okay, so this was actually 2 years ago, I believe. Yeah, I'm looking. So I take my first year students, I teach a first year course, signature course. basically incorporating all of this, and I take them to the dining hall every year. And that's how we actually learn about nutrition instead of me teaching about nutrition. Clearly, you can tell by their plates, we hadn't actually gotten into the nutrition discussion yet, but I mean, yes, they're all smiling, but we had so much fun. And it was funny how everything changed from that moment on. And as I say this, I should really do it like the first or second week of the semester. This was towards the end of the semester, but it was just interesting to see how everyone's relationships with everyone changed after that lunch. And I was there with them. I took the picture, I ate my chicken patty, put it on salad though, make it look a little better. Again, meaning is what is our ultimate purpose. And I've already mentioned how we can do this, basically giving your students 5 minutes to visualize what their life looks like in 10 years. It might not be where they are right now, but knowing that what they're doing right now is leading to their ultimate goal, their ultimate purpose in life. I know I'm running out of time here. Accomplishment, I know Selt and John have done so much work on growth versus fixed mindset. Again, this is really where this broaden and build theory exists, is if we can increase their emotions, increase their engagement, their relationships, their purpose in life, that we're able to increase their brain power, broaden their brain power so that they can actually learn and grow. Okay, so this is really telling that individual, maybe you're not great at science and physical therapy might be difficult for you, but you know what? It doesn't mean you can't do it. If you enjoy it, if you like it, it might take you 6 years instead of 4 years, but that's okay. I did horrible. I was on academic probation in undergrad. I was a horrible student, horrible. I had no idea what I was doing, right? Probably because I was in physical therapy, but anyways, I had no idea what I was doing. And I was not good at science, but I was told I should be a physical therapist. And I didn't do well. And then I did graduate, obviously, and I took 6 years off before grad school. And I grew and I learned what it meant to work hard and have that intrinsic motivation. I had to do it for myself. And I thrived in grad school. So that's what we need to do with our students. We need to get them to understand that, yes, a lot has gone wrong maybe in your past, but don't use that as an excuse to give up, right? We all have stuff, but the research shows us that if we look at our happiness circle and our ability to flourish and thrive, 40% of it is, actually 50% is genetic, 10% is life circumstances. And that's really important. So those individuals that come in and say, I'm they have all this history, and we have so many students now with so many different diverse backgrounds. Yes, that has happened to you. Yes, that exists. We're not going to take that away from you. But actually, in the whole pie of happiness and flourishing and thriving, your past experience is only 10% of that flourishing wheel. Okay? 40% of it, the remaining 40%, we have control over, an individual has control over. And once we open up and broaden our minds to realize that, yes, we actually can do this. We have strengths, we have relationships, we're engaged. We can do this. We can move forward. We can focus on the future and not worry about the past. All right, so I know I am about out of time, so let me just minimize this. So Angela Duckworth, great book, Grit. I think everybody in college should read it. But it really looks at this growth versus fixed mindset. Carol Dweck, we also know a lot about, but one potential is one thing. What we do with it is quite another. As much as talent counts, effort counts twice. I always joke about this. Like, I don't think I'm smart. I'm not, like I said, I didn't get great grades. I think I had like a 2.9 when I graduated from undergrad, right? but I feel like I bring other things to the table that help me thrive. And so it's not about talent, it's about that intrinsic motivation, that ability to bounce back, but then keep bouncing, keep moving forward. And I think my last one, again, our Carol Dweck, no matter what your ability is, effort is what ignites that ability and turns it into accomplishments. I had this conversation with my daughter yesterday. You know, so she's not good at math. Why are you using that as an excuse to not do well? You just work 2 times more. You spend 2 times longer studying, but you'll get there. And that is
Sorry,
it.
could you say that
Siri, I'm not talking to you.
We asked her.
All right. I'm gonna stop share, and I guess that's out of time.
Hi,
Any
Amy. We have
questions?
a question from the floor in here from Allison Pierre. She had a question. Can you go back to your meaning slide?
Yes.
Did you have a specific?
Oh, I just wanted to get a quicker, or I wanted to get a closer look at it and chat a couple of things.
She just wanted to get a closer look at it.
Yes, and I can share all this with everyone. Would it be easier to, I'm just looking for my meeting slide. Oh, there it is. All right, let me share again. Hold on, let's get out of here. While I'm pulling that up, do I have any other questions? Is this one, the one, Allison?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And I can share this actually. And there's actually more slides. Here, let me stop share. There's more slides at the end, and there's actually activities in here that you can do. So I'm going to say anyone with the link, copy, paste.
Oh, she's sharing it with you.
There, I just shared it. I mean, I don't know if you're in the class, if you're in the CELT room, if you don't have a computer, I guess you won't see it, but if you just email me, if you didn't get it through the chat, I'm happy to share it with you. There's a ton more at the end that I didn't do. It's just the activities and such.
Thanks, Jess.
Questions? I will say what was really funny was when I had the conversation about multitasking, everyone's eyes shifted. For some odd reason, I can't imagine why. And I'm just gonna say I'm guilty as everyone else. Sometimes I like these Zoom meetings. In fact, I'm gonna do a CELT session at, I think 11, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna get all these papers graded. So anyways, all right, well, thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any other questions, let me know. You're gonna hear a lot more from me about this whole Oswego Thrive initiative. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you,
Thanks, Amy.
Jessica.